Welcome, everybody, to the Brandon and Ryan Hour. I'm Brandon.
And I'm Ryan. And today we are talking about the new Netflix movie uh, called Rebel Moon on Netflix.
It's called Rebel Moon on Netflix. That's a crazy name. I thought it was called Rebel Moon Part 1 Child of Fire.
I mean, that is what it's called.
Oh,
But
okay.
you want to know the most fantastic thing right now? Is
What?
your video is frozen and it's just you scratching your chin over and over again.
Ah, it's cool. Am I frozen?
Now you're not. Okay, I fixed it.
Am I live now?
Yes, you're live now. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Let me scratch my chin
No,
again.
you were just sitting there.
Okay. Stupid internets work. Um. Yeah. So the highly anticipated Zack Snyder Netflix original. Is that an original? I don't
I
know.
mean, technically, yeah.
Okay. Uh, okay. So he's the writer, director, a couple other guys write. Okay. So, all right, everybody, welcome to the show. Uh, Sit back, relax, chat with us, be entertained, laugh. Um, there are plenty of spoilers, so if you have not seen the movie, it's too late. We're gonna tell you what happens. Maybe.
Are we?
There's a lot that happens,
Is
so I
there?
don't know if we have that much time. It feels like there should have been a lot that happens,
Oh, yeah, it feels like there should have been.
and like it feels like stuff did happen, but also
Hmm.
at the same time, did it really happen? Yeah. So anyway, all right. So initial thoughts.
I'm very
You loved it, didn't you?
I did not actually. I did not
Oh,
love
it's your favorite
this.
movie of the year.
No, not by a long shot. I like Zack Snyder as a director. Like I feel like a lot of his movies have very good visuals. Um,
Yeah,
you got
I agree.
300. You got I liked the Batman or the Superman movie that kicked off the universe. I liked Batman v Superman.
Hmm.
Um, I
Sucker
like his
Punch. That's a really good visual movie.
It's a good visual movie. The story isn't great
Watchmen.
there. Yeah, I was still talking about Sucker Punch.
Okay.
Visually stunning movie, just not a great story or acting, but still a
Yeah.
fun time.
Yeah.
Watchmen, great movie, great visuals. In this one, there were some points where the visuals were good, but some points where the CG was just awful, and it just looked like utter trash. And the
Okay.
story wasn't that great either. I did not enjoy the story.
Okay.
It kind of
Well, those are two
felt
separate things.
okay. Those are two
So
separate things, but I'm talking about the movie in general.
yeah, yeah. Right, right.
Kind of felt like he was going for what is the cowboy movie where they're collecting everybody. Um the
Were there what?
Magnificent 7. The
Oh,
Magnificent 7 where they've got to go put together a team of people to fight a big bad guy. Felt like he was kind of going for
yeah.
that, but didn't do it fantastically well.
Now that you mention it, that makes sense.
It does.
Okay, that it? Is that your initial thought?
Those are my initial thoughts, yes.
Okay. So I'm there with you on the story. Like, I don't know. I feel like there was a good story in there somewhere. Um, but it didn't quite. Like, I don't know. It just didn't do it for me. Like I felt like I was missing out on the on a better story that's in this world that he built.
hmm
'Cause it's kind of a cool thing, and some of the visuals were pretty good. Like with the moons and stuff. Those horse things were weird
Okay.
and irritating me. Um, uh, I guess there were some moments where I was like, okay, that's not great CG, but sometimes it's hard to tell if that's my internet, my TV, or the movie. when you're watching it at home. When you're in a
Okay.
theater and the CG sucks, you know the CG sucks,
No, the
right?
CG, some of the CG in this sucked. So I'm gonna say it was
Okay,
not your internet or your TV this time.
right. It shouldn't be my internet. I'm supposed to have good internet. It's my internet anyway. Um, the Magnificent Seven thing makes sense now because that part like the let's go here and get a guy here and get a guy here and get it, that was starting to just piss me off,
Yeah,
honestly. Um,
but it can be done well. Like I've seen movies
yeah,
where it's done well, but they didn't introduce any of the characters. They were just like, "Oh, we need to go get this guy because
yeah,
he used to be a general." But then we don't see anything about him. It's just, "Okay, there he is. We have him."
right. And then
Um,
they're immediately on to the next person before any character like
there's no connection. There's no interaction between any of the characters. It's just we need this person. Let's go get
yeah.
them.
But we're getting ahead of ourselves, so
Are we? Okay.
let's just yeah, we're past our initial thoughts, so let's just get into it. Um okay. So if anybody watching drop some comments, let us know what you think, ask some questions if you have any. Um and yeah, so the movie starts visually it looks cool. Um you've got this I guess interesting interaction where she's in that village and that
The
one
main
guy
character
clearly
is,
wants
yeah.
or actually like you obviously can tell that the two guys are interested in her, which would make sense because they live in a village away from everybody and she's an outsider, so she's obviously not related to them.
Yeah, yeah,
So
fair.
she is of marrying age, so all that makes sense, right? She's not ugly, so obviously the two important guys in the village are going to be interested in her. Um, and they do the normal stuff where they're like being mysterious about her background and that she's an outsider and
Mm-hmm.
all this kind of stuff, and that's fine. Um, and then I guess introducing the backstory or the history didn't make a whole lot of sense.
Okay, what do you mean?
So there's a planet out there, and they're like, oh, well, our planet is great. Let's go take over the rest of the galaxy or the
Okay.
universe
Yeah.
and start collecting their resources because we need them and they don't. Um, like just what's the word? Oh, um, I don't know. Like that doesn't make sense. Like you don't fly to distant planets to steal their resources because that's not a good way to get resources.
Okay, yeah.
If your planet is dead and has zero resources, you should probably leave. It just conquer a bigger planet that still has all its resources. If you're out of everything, like leave.
Okay.
But then like the whole thing with like the thousands of generations and the they were talking about the king like he was like this great benevolent king, but he's conquering planet after planet after planet, which is not necessarily
Benevolent. Yep.
benevolent. And then it's also like brutal. It's not like, hey, you guys are a backwater planet. You guys want some technology and you can sell us your resources
Yeah.
and we'll whatever. And there doesn't seem to be like a large opposing force, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Like where you just have one faction that's just taking over everything with zero opposition. Like even the Romans didn't have that,
Right. Yeah.
and they took over the known world.
Mm-hmm.
It, they had plenty of opposition. They just killed everybody.
Right. They won
So I
because
don't
they
know.
were the best at the
Right.
time. Right.
Anyway, so I guess that was, I don't know. I was like, okay, let's see where this goes. Um, I don't know. What did you? Okay, so like that's how they built the universe. Like they just kind of tell you story,
Yeah, just exposition. Here it is. Here's
which
what you need to
sometimes
know.
I don't like. Sometimes I like it. It just depends. Like here, I guess some of it is necessary because there's so much of a world that they're trying to like build really quickly
Yeah.
to get you into the story. Um, I feel like there's a lot of holes in the story that just I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, they just rushed it and said, here's what you need to know. Here's the exposition, um, which wasn't greatly done. Like,
Yeah,
they could have introduced it slower throughout the rest of the story,
yeah, piecemeal it. Yeah,
but they just exposition dumped it all in like two or three expositions.
yeah,
What's going on?
yeah,
Um, so, I mean, I wasn't crazy about it, but it tells you, I guess it tells you what you need to know
yeah.
to
It
start
was it was
the story.
it was okay, and that's not my main beef with the movie by far.
Yeah.
It's after the first 30 minutes is where I'm like, this is not going in the great direction.
Yeah, so conflict arises. Uh, the bad guys, the people who were taking over all the planets, show up
What
to
were they
this
called?
world. I don't remember
I don't remember either.
because basically I didn't care. Um,
Okay.
but anyway, they show up in a spaceship, and the little town that she's in, the village she's in, everybody's freaking out, and they're like, "Okay, well, let's talk to them and see what they want." And then they tell them, "No, we're not going to sell you any food." And then their leader
That whole
gets
interaction was
killed.
weird.
Yeah,
They kill like obviously they don't like these people and they're not good people. And they're like, "Hey, can we have some of your food? We'll pay you 3 times what it's worth." And they're like, "Sorry, we don't have enough to give you."
right.
Now they're just gonna take it from you, bro. Are you stupid?
Yeah, yes, they are.
And then the
But
one
they had
guy,
also decided at the beginning that they were going, before they started talking to the guy, they decided, hey, let's offer them some of the surplus to buy if they give a fair price. And then the leader was just like, nope, we don't have any now because I've talked to you for 2 minutes and I don't want to sell anything to you.
yeah, what was his name?
Uh,
Gunner?
no, that was the guy, the pilot that they met. I don't know if they gave us his full name, but he was the father of the town, like a town mayor.
Oh yeah, not him.
Oh,
The other
okay.
guy, the guy that got the
Oh,
town mayor killed.
the other guy.
I think that was Gunner.
I don't
I
think
think
so.
Kai wasn't Kai the guy with the ship?
No, I'm pretty sure that was Gunner.
Okay. Yeah. No, Gunner is the guy from the village.
Oh, all right.
Kai,
I got.
Charlie Hunnam.
I must have gotten that one wrong then. Okay.
Yeah. Um. Anyway, yeah, that was stupid because I guess they were just trying to show that they were brutal, but like, like you're country folk, you're not retarded. Like, don't be stupid and get yourselves killed,
Yeah,
right?
you would think.
That whole thing didn't make sense. Um.
But now we know that the bad guys are the bad guys, and
Yeah.
then the main character
And
is like, now I have to leave this place because the bad guys know where this place is, so I can't stay here.
yeah, and then they left some of their soldiers to make sure that they were farming.
Yeah, but the soldiers
Um.
were all uh, rapey. So she
All but
sees,
one.
yeah, all but one, who then, after he makes his stand to the rest of the bad people, he just disappears from the movie. Like, what happened to
Where
that
did he
character?
go? Where did he go? Okay, so let's talk about that scene. So she's going to leave.
Yeah.
They're trying to like um mess with that little girl who was like, I don't know what, 13, 14 years old, 15 maybe. She was a young girl.
I don't know. I didn't think she was that young. I thought she was like 16, 17. I mean,
Okay, whatever.
I don't
She
know.
maybe teenager.
Yeah, the problem is it's an adult actress. So
Right. So it's
it's
yeah.
hard to
So it's
tell.
hard to tell. So anyway, they're trying um to rape this young girl. So she's like on her horse about to leave or whatever.
The main
And
character. Uh-huh.
yeah, Cora. And then she's like, nope, I got to step in. And then she proceeds to kill
Take
them
out an
all.
entire barracks full of people.
Yeah. That one guy helped a little. And um the one good soldier. And then the robot helped a little.
Mm,
But she killed like 10 guys,
yeah, by herself.
essentially on her own. And that didn't. I mean, she caught him off guard, which helps.
Not really, because like she announced that she was there. It's not like she walked in and killed two of them and then started fighting.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, you're right. She just walked in
she
with
just
the
walked
axe.
in and said stop, and then stood there until they approached her.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so then she
So
proceeds to
she
like
really didn't catch them off
beat the
guard at
crap
all.
out of them
Right.
and kill them along the way. And she had an axe.
She picked up a gun.
Right, right. But she only brought an axe
Right.
to essentially. She went in there to kill them. She knew what was going to happen.
Right.
So she went in there to kill them with an axe, and there's like 10 or 12 of them.
Yep.
And a robot.
Well, Robot wasn't in there to start with. He showed up after the
He
fight.
shows up, but they have a robot. Anyway, and the robot became friends with that little girl that they're trying to, or with the lady that they're trying to
Uh-huh.
rape.
Yep.
But like we don't know nothing about her,
Right.
and then now she's just immediately destroying trained soldiers,
Yep.
and she's like 100 pounds soaking wet.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like at one point there was a scene, and like she's standing there, and her arm is like this big around.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the frick? How can you do? There's no muscle there.
Right.
Like, how can you throw a grown man when there's nothing?
Yep.
Like,
It don't make no sense.
there's no amount of training that will enable a 100-pound person to throw a 200-pound person
Right.
with the ease
At which she was
that
doing.
she's doing it.
Right. But she's the chosen one. She's special.
How is she special? How is she special?
Because she's the main character of the movie.
Okay, whatever. So we get past that, and now the village is screwed because now they've killed all these guys. So now they have to fight. So they're gonna hire hire a rebel force to kill this one guy to start a war with the kingdom.
Yeah, not
Like-
a great plan.
How do you do that?
Yeah, like, the entire point was she was going to go collect the one general and hope that he still knew people that could come fight for them. But when they find the general, after they've collected two other people on the way, he doesn't know anybody. Like, he's just a washed up loser who has no contacts.
Yeah. And their only like their good contact were the rebels that they obviously knew about already.
Uh-huh.
Why wouldn't you go to them first?
I don't know, dude.
And I mean, they telegraphed some things. I don't know. I mean, did you figure it out in the first 5 minutes
Figure what out?
when they got Kai? When they went to go get the ship?
I don't know what you're talking about, dude.
Did you know how it was going to end before it started?
Not all of it. But like I knew
When did
that
you know Kai was a bad guy?
I mean right away I knew he was a bad guy.
You knew he was going to double cross them, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Right.
Because he's just in this random. Was that like a gay bar? Like what was going on in that bar? Because like they had
It was
dudes
like
dressed
a
up as
they had cross
chicks,
dressers in there. I don't know. It
and
was stupid.
the big fat pig nose guy was all grabby on the gunner guy.
Yeah. Okay, so that's another thing. Like that guy, he's trying to buy Gunner from Cora. Yeah,
Hmm.
like right off the bat. Like they walk in together into this bar together, and then he's like going to her to buy him. What are you talking about, guy? Like, what is this?
I don't
Like,
know,
you
dude.
obviously assume that she owns him because they walked in together. Like, how does that even make sense? Like, you're trying to put weird social norms into this without telling us these social norms, and they're
Right.
so
I
out
mean,
of left field.
she did have on a cloak that covered most of her, so they could have been saying that she looked more rich than he did. So
I don't know.
I'm grasping at straws here, trying
Yeah.
to make it make
And
sense.
how do you have cross dressers in the clothes that they were wearing
Uh huh.
when those are Earth clothes?
I don't know, dude.
Because there was clearly somebody in like a three-piece like tuxedo or something in a top hat.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Like that's not this world.
Right.
I've seen no top hats. This looks like a Western world with technology. So that was shoehorned in there for some stupid reason.
Yeah. Um. But yeah, like as soon as the fight was over, and he was like, "Oh, I'll take you if you pay me," and they're like, "We can't really pay you. We don't have that much money," and he's like, "I'll help anyway." Okay, yeah. Obviously, you're a bad guy.
Well, and he just got paid for snitching on that one guy that they took.
Well, we don't know that he was the one who got paid.
Yeah, you saw the transaction happen.
Did we? I
Yes.
must have missed that as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you see the soldier, like you see the transaction, the money happen, or whatever. They weren't soldiers, looked like they were like bounty hunters or whatever.
Yeah.
But it looked like they were paying him for
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay,
the
you're right.
the tip.
The
The weird creatures.
yeah, he didn't look that weird though. He looked kind of like what is that? Oh, he looked like one of the Uruk-hai from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like he that showed up, and I was like, why do they have Lord of the Ring characters in here? And it's like,
Why
okay,
do they have
well,
orcs and stuff? And
yeah,
yeah, yeah. Um, and then the pig guy kind of looked like the pig guy from the third Lord of the Rings movie too.
okay, yeah, that's fair.
Um, I guess like it is hard to make a sci-fi movie that's super original because there are so many sci-fi things out there and fantasy stuff. So like, how many different kinds of ears can you put on a creature, right?
Right.
So I get it. Like that's not that big of a deal. But like Kai is a bad guy.
Yeah, like you
Like
know
he's like,
from the
yeah,
very
well,
beginning, he's not a good guy.
he's clearly gonna double cross you. Like he's clearly in this for money, and he's gonna double cross you.
Yeah, and then they say we can't pay you, and he's like, "Oh, I'll help anyway. Why not?"
Yeah, and then so they go get the one guy that rides the dragon. Now there's
Mm,
dragons too.
it
Was he
wasn't
the
a
first one?
dragon. That wasn't a dragon. That was a griffin.
Oh yeah, yeah, Griffin. My bad. So he rides a Griffin,
Mm-hmm.
and the guy lets him go, and then the Griffin immediately kills him because he's stupid.
Yeah, I didn't
So they get
understand the
that
point of
guy.
that guy. Like, why did they need him? Like,
I don't know.
he did
Well,
nothing. They announce him later in the movie, like towards the end, as a prince, with no backstory as to why he
oh, did they?
matters. Yes.
Okay. Well, okay. So the whole idea, the whole thing didn't make sense. So Kai starts calling the shots on who they're gonna go get.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I know this person. He's gonna be a great soldier. Like, okay, like, so they went and got Kai, and then he's like, oh, let's go get this lady before we go get the general. And I'm like, is he doing? He's bounty hunting right now.
Yep.
It's like he's going. He's got a list of names, and he's just gathering them all up because they're worth
Money.
a big
Yeah.
reward. I was like, that's what he's doing.
Yep.
And then they go to the world with the lady.
Yeah. Asian lady.
There's like
nemesis.
no introduction.
Yeah.
They're just walking down a hall together and talking. You're like, what?
Yeah.
And then she has to fight this
Giant spider lady thing. Yeah.
spider lady that's kidnapping kids because hers are dying. Like, I definitely tried to do like that kind of thing works in like Magnificent Seven, right? They're going from town to town to pick up, guys to go fight, right?
Yeah.
But you know the world.
Yep.
So you know Western Town. Oh, this guy's a bank robber, blah blah blah. Oh, this guy is an ex war hero and now he's just living out in the middle of nowhere cuz he's tired of killing people, but one last time. And then oh, this guy is whatever, like his family died or got killed and now he hates whatever. And
Yeah.
so yeah, they're picking up all these people and you don't have to like explain creatures and mythology and social norms, like all that.
Right.
So you're trying to cram all of this stuff into one movie. And how does like 5 people, how are you gonna fight with 5 people?
They had more than 5 people.
A battleship
They had more than 5 people. 'Cause
from space.
when they went and picked up Ray Fisher's character, he also came with another 5 or 7 people.
Who's Ray Fisher?
He was
Oh,
the
The actual
Blood
rebel.
X guy. Yeah.
Yeah, he came with a couple of ships. They
Well,
look like TIE fighters.
yeah,
Or not TIE fighters. The other ones.
like speedsters.
speedsters. But
yeah, they
like,
were going to go try to take on an entire giant warship with 10 to 12 people.
right. Makes no sense.
Okay, I'm not going to argue with you.
So, and as soon as he said, okay, so they pick up everybody, right? Oh, we got everybody. We got a team.
Yeah.
Go team.
And he's like, I've got to get rid of this cargo that I'm hauling because I'm a thief. And this is the first time in the entire movie that they mention he's a thief. And you're like, oh, okay, well.
Yeah, because they didn't mention that at the bar at the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's like, oh, I got to deliver this real quick. Just real quick stop, guys. No big deal. Don't open the boxes.
Yeah.
What's in the box? Don't open. Don't worry about it. You don't need to. I was like, oh my gosh. And the whole time they're explaining her backstory, right?
Uh-huh. How
How
she's
she's
this great
this
war hero.
Kidnapped kid from a destroyed planet
Mm-hmm.
and from, basically kidnapped and adopted by the military leader,
Uh-huh.
basically like second in command behind the king or whatever. He trains her up and like she's like the biggest, baddest soldier in their army. But she's clearly an idiot because she doesn't see the obvious double cross coming.
Yeah.
I feel like any trained, not soldier, but
Tactician?
officer
Officer? Okay.
would see the double cross coming
Yeah, for sure.
from a mile away. But she didn't. And neither did the general, but the general showed up last. So we didn't really know. But he should have, like... There's not enough interaction between those
Right,
5
there was
people.
no interaction between any of the characters. Like we see them, okay, we need you. Maybe a couple sentences to convince you. Now we got to go find somebody else. Hey, we need you. A couple sentences with that person. Okay, now we got to
Yeah.
go find somebody else. So there's no bonding between them. There's no interplay between
And
everybody.
which and for Schneider it doesn't make a whole lot of sense because he did Justice League and there is bonding there when he's building that team. Wait, you stop sneezing already? One more?
Nope.
No? Okay.
That's it.
So he is bonding when he's building that team. Or the Justice League anyway.
Right.
But like there's no like they're never
But
on the ship having a discussion about life or anything about
yeah, and we don't know anything about any of the characters. We don't know the Griffin guy. We don't know any of his personality. We don't know anything about the general after they pick him up. Sword
Yeah.
Lady doesn't talk at all except when she's fighting the spider. Like there's nothing to tell us anything about who these characters are, why they're special, what they bring to the table. There's no, hey, when we get on the ship, you're going to go do this because you're an expert thief. Hey, you're going to do this because you're really good at munitions and blowing stuff up. There's nothing.
There's no plan. They're just like, okay, we're gonna go back to our moon now and beat the bad guys.
Yeah.
Except they didn't even get that far because they got double crossed.
Right. But like in Magnificent Seven, they're like, okay, we need this guy because he's the fastest gun in the West.
We need a sharpshooter.
We need a sharpshooter.
A planner. We need a tactician.
Right.
We need muscle.
Right.
We need a big guy.
Like they described what each person brought and why it was
Yeah.
important. Here they're just like, we need people. You want to come along? Okay, great.
Yeah. Like, oh, you hate the kingdom too, so you want to fight with us because you've got a sword. And they did the Griffin thing, right? Like, oh, he's gonna train the Griffin, and then she's gonna sword fight with her cool swords. A spider lady that she doesn't really want to fight, and then the general didn't really do anything.
No,
He just
not at all.
took a bath.
Yep.
then, um, and then all they had to do was talk to the Blood Axe and be like, "Hey, your guys are rebels. You want to come do rebel stuff with us?
Right.
Because some reason we're putting together a rebel force,
Yep.
and you guys are real rebels."
Yeah.
I don't remember seeing any fire either. Do you remember seeing any fire?
No.
Okay, because it's called A Child of Fire.
Oh, yeah. It was.
Oh.
No, I didn't really see any fire.
Right. So, anyway, like the final battle scene or the final fight scene
Yeah.
was okay, I guess.
I mean, it was action for the sake of action. Nothing of consequence happened. Like they killed off the Blood Axe guy, and I was like, okay, well, didn't care about that
Yeah.
character in the first place because.
And he died
been
taking
in-
down the ship, which
Right. But we had seen him on screen 3 minutes, maybe. Knew
Maybe.
nothing about him other than he has a sister, and that's it.
yeah. Now his sister's gonna be pissed for the sequel though, part 2. Yeah. Then it goes into like weird stuff, right? Like, so they fight, they win,
Mm-hmm.
and they leave. But what's his name? Atticus
The main bad guy of this story, yeah.
is clearly should be dead,
Yep.
but he's not. And then they have this weird technology stuff, like the things with the like he stuck something into his side earlier in the movie when he was naked,
Uh-huh.
and then he got into the hot tub with the weird creature that had suction cups all over it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, so
But
they
yes,
get
so
him
they put him in
and
a
then,
thing.
yeah.
So was he physically teleported, or was he just like, was it like a mental thing?
Again, I have no idea.
Yeah, like that didn't make any sense. Like, how are you dead, but then they can like project your mind across the universe, and you're fine to talk to somebody,
Uh-huh.
but you've just fallen hundreds of feet to your death. presumably. And then he comes out of it and he's completely fine, like
Well,
no
no,
injuries.
I mean, I don't think no injuries, because they're like, is he dead? We don't have any life signs. Give it everything you got, and shock him real hard, and he's back alive.
Yeah, but what does give him everything you got mean? Because like like you fall hundreds of feet, you're gonna have
Again,
broken
I don't
something.
know, dude. That's just what they said.
Right. So like the technology magic stuff in this, and there's also magic. They introduced magic because that little girl can heal birds.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Uh, yeah. So like there's just too many things that are weird. The robots that don't fight anymore because the king died.
For
Because
no reason at all. Just the king died,
yeah,
and now the robots don't fight.
and the robot seemed cool, right?
Okay.
He was like nice to the little girl. He wasn't trying to be a douche. He wasn't like
Right.
he was just a robot.
Yep.
And it seemed like he understood compassion with the little girl and everything. But the king is obviously a dick.
Right.
So why do they love him so much?
I don't know, dude. But yeah,
This is too
but
many
again,
things, too
like
many
they
questions.
introduced the robot, the subplot about the king dying, all the robots being peaceful now, um, and then robot just disappears for the rest of the movie until the very final scene where he's standing out in a field with antlers on his head.
Antlers, like some kind of crown thing. Like what the heck was that?
I didn't get it.
I didn't get that at all either. Um, so they think he's dead. So they're like, "Oh no, the ship will go back home,
Right.
and they'll forget about us now." But then they still go back to the moon. But he's not dead, so now he's not gonna forget about them because he's obviously a crazy person.
Mm-hmm.
And how old is she? Where she's like, I've like she's been with them for 2 seasons.
Uh-huh. But what is a season? Like,
Right.
is that
But
a
she's
year?
also like
Is that like 6 months? Is it 3
6 months. Yeah, like
months? I don't
right.
know.
But like also like she's like, I grew up there, I became a soldier, and then I became like the lead soldier
Uh-huh.
or whatever, and like conquered planets upon planets. Like that takes time. Like I don't understand how old you are right now.
Right.
Do you look 24 but you're actually like 60? Like what is going on here?
Who knows?
And then did her adopted kidnapper like kill the king and the queen? Is that what happened?
I think that's what was implied because he's
Okay,
now
so they never
the
said.
they never said, but like she was put in charge of guarding the kid, and she made some comment it was part of his big plan that I didn't know about. Um
Okay.
and then he's the one in charge, so they make it seem like yes, he is the one who orchestrated the king's death.
And it seemed like he was in charge now because that's who he got astrally projected to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
So, because like I'm watching this, I'm like, wait a minute, did I miss something? Because I'm not gonna go back and watch it again. So
Yeah.
okay, um,
So one time was enough for you?
yeah, yeah. For part one time was enough for me. Do you know how many parts there are supposed to be?
I don't know. I'm sick and tired of this part one, part two thing though. Like, why can they not just make a movie and have a
I
movie
mean,
and see if it's good enough to get a sequel after?
yeah. I mean, like they didn't need to call it part one. They could have just called it
Right.
Rebel Moon: A Child of Fire, and then done the exact same thing,
Right.
and you would have been like, okay, now they've set up for a sequel. Maybe we'll get one, maybe we won't.
Right.
Like how it used to be in the old days. But they probably already started shooting the second one,
Yep.
and
So,
they're gonna be like, "Oh, Netflix is killing it. This is getting millions of minutes of views because so it's got to be great." You're like, "No, it doesn't. It doesn't. It's 2 hours and 15 minutes long. People are gonna watch it once on Netflix because everybody who's got Netflix is gonna watch it at least once. It doesn't mean it's good. Does it?
It does not. So,
Okay.
what are your closing thoughts on this one?
That.
Ah, okay, great. Yeah, so I agree with you. I don't think it was a great movie, but also wasn't the worst piece of garbage I've watched this year.
No, I agree with you on that.
So, I don't know. I think on a scale of 10, I'd give it maybe a 5.2. I feel like that would be a
Okay.
fair one.
Yeah. I'm close. I was gonna give it a 4.7
All right.
because there's just too much that too many unanswered questions, and they didn't give me a real good reason to care about her or anybody
Or
else in the
anybody
movie.
else. Right.
Um, the only thing they did well, no, now that I'm thinking about it, they didn't even do that very well because there's too much confliction with the king stuff. I was gonna say the only thing they did well was make the bad guys, but the whole thing with the robots and the king and that seems to be a conflicting thing. Like,
Okay.
I'm a great king, but I also want to take over the galaxy or the universe. Okay. So I guess I don't know. Do you know when part 2 is supposed to come out?
I have no idea.
Yeah, okay.
But it's
I
also
wonder.
not a movie that I would care about enough to want to see the second one.
Well,
Like if the second one never gets made, I'm not gonna lose sleep over it.
it says 2024.
Okay, so yeah, they've already been shooting it and in production, I guess.
Part 2, The Scar Giver. Okay. Oh yeah, because did you watch the trailer or something, a teaser for the second one? That's right. There was a teaser at the end.
Ah, I didn't watch that.
Yeah.
No.
Expected April 19th, 2024. It's in post production. Okay. So we'll see. I mean, we'll probably do a review on it just because. But like, I
Only if the
like
people
Zack
who have watched
Snyder.
this will leave comments down below asking us to. So if you guys
Or
watched this and you
yeah,
enjoyed it, leave comments down below and let us know if you want us to review part two in what 4.5 months when it
if
comes
and when
out.
it ever comes. Yeah, 4 or 5 months when it comes out. Unless there's better things to watch, we'll see how the schedule goes. Hopefully next year is gonna be good for movies. This year was okay. All right. Well, so yeah, if you guys are still hanging out with us, you can follow us on YouTube, Rumble, and Twitter. You can find us at BRH Reviews or the Brandon and Ryan Hour. And yeah, like Ryan said, let us know what your thoughts are and any movies you think we should watch. We also do series reviews, comic book reviews, other kinds of stuff. Um, so just give us some recommendations.
Yeah,
Preferably some good ones because we
some
like to
good
watch
ones.
good TV shows and good movies. And sometimes it's hard to find those out because they're just they're just hiding from you,
Yep.
or they don't
Also,
have
make sure to hit
big
that
budgets.
like button and subscribe if you want to see more from us.
Ooh, yes.
All right, and with that
Okay.
one, that is it.
We'll see you guys later.